Usually we were going to call this program, I don't know, What's for Lunch? Because really this is all about, in many ways, school lunches. So I was first trying to say, oh, close your eyes. But no, I'm going to just say, just think back to your school lunches. For some people, it was a terrible memory, and not just the food. It's like, oh my God, I hated that cafeteria. Others, well, I love those school lunches. And for me, we were laughing because I said, I'm told when I went to school, there was always a little calendar, and one day would be like pizza day, and one day would be like, I don't know, fried chicken day. And it's like, I don't know, I don't want to eat all those days, I just want the pizza day. And so what we've assembled today is really a dynamic panel, and like with many things at Milken, involving people from all three key sectors. So from government, on my left from Indonesia, but also from the private sector, from civil society or the nonprofit world, and because it's a special food program, a chef. And so what we're going to do is really have, hopefully, almost like a lunch conversation on stage. And we do have some things we'll show, but it's really about a conversation about nutrition. It almost follows up on a panel we did last year on investing in children. In a ways, it's not just investing in children, it's about investing in our future as we think through what are our young people eating. So just some quick factoids before we get to the conversation I pulled out. I often go to WHO data on health, but particularly for children, UNICEF. I'm a big fan of UNICEF. There just came out the UNICEF Child Nutrition Report of 2025, and we'll talk about what surveys are out there, what's the data that we can really base investment decisions on. But two bits of data I just wanted to pull out for our part of the world here in Asia, that UNICEF in this 2025 report says, in terms of food poverty, the worst is here in Asia. South Asia, 130 million young people in food poverty, and in this part of the world, 59 million East Asian Pacific of young people in food poverty. And so what's been, intriguing is maybe not the right word, but when you think about it, you think, oh, it's just poorer nations. That's where the issue is, but that's far from the case. And so the word that I see in a lot of the reports from UNICEF and elsewhere is this notion of a double burden. Yes, there's undernutrition. Some countries deal with stunting, people not getting the right nutrition. But in so many nations, including in my own United States, there's also issues now of being overweight and obesity. So you got a double burden when we think about children's nutrition and many factors, which we'll get into, but I really want us to focus really on why this is so important. And then later on, we'll talk about partnerships and solutions. So I'm going to begin by asking Heidi to give us the big picture. When we invited you, you're like, oh, there's so much to talk about. And actually, Heidi actually has a bunch of great data, which you can reference and then you can all access online. But why is this such a critical issue? Tell us a little bit about your group and just that big picture, including beyond Asia, when it comes to child nutrition.
Thank you. A pleasure to be here, and I'm glad that you all look fairly friendly. So looking forward to this conversation. I come from the Global Child Nutrition Foundation, where we lead the global survey of school meal programs. We invite all 194 governments to provide standardized information on their school meal programs so that we have an understanding of what's happening in school meals around the world, and I'm pleased to share some of that information with you today. So first of all, more than 400 million primary and secondary school-aged children receive food at school. That makes this the largest safety protection program in the world. School meal programs can bridge gaps between health, nutrition, education, agriculture, social protection, even gender equity and sustainability. I'd like to describe a little bit about what some school meals look like around the world. Just 2 weeks ago, I was in Brazil enjoying a school meal of rice and beans and corn that had been procured from smallholder farmers, prioritizing the selection of smallholder farmers that are women. In other parts of the world, Kyrgyzstan, they're providing kefir, a fermented milk, to provide protein and calcium. They're also serving fortified flour, rice, and oil. They have an online platform for training their chefs, and they have a line item specifically in their national budget to feed children at school. And importantly, they employ nutritionists to make sure that they're getting the nutrition basket right. In Laos, we see tinned fish and poultry on the menu, deep orange and dark green vegetables, fortified rice and oil. Small-scale farmers in Laos receive preferential treatment during the bidding process to make sure that they can access a stable market of school meal programs. Another exciting thing in Laos is that they're actively switching their cooking methodology from using wood and charcoal to using fuel-efficient stoves with alternative fuel. In Burundi, the government makes most of what's local. We see zucchini leaves, spinach, cassava leaves on the plate. School meals are not just about food security. They're providing nutrition, the vitamins and minerals that children need, and strengthening the local food systems.
You know, I'm going to call up, can I call up slide 10? And so I asked, you know, food is so visual too. And so what are we seeing here? You know, it's, if you can't read, like Finland, Malaysia, Kyrgyz, and Honduras, is that what they're having for lunch? Like, what are we looking at here?
Absolutely. These are all photos that were submitted by the countries themselves. A wonderful quote I'd like to share from Finland, a conversation I had last week. The minister said, school feeding is in our history. They have a long, decades-long history of school feeding, but it's pointed to the future. It's really acknowledgement and recognition that the countries are recognizing school feeding not as charity, but as an investment in the human capital of their future.
And can we see slide 11?
Let me share a little bit about what you might see in Japan. Students might sit down to a steamed bowl of miso soup, some grilled fish, fresh milk, and fresh bread, and it's going to be served right in the classroom by the students themselves. Students are actively engaged. They go down to the kitchen, they bring the meal up to the classroom, and they serve their peers. They have to portion out hot soup. They use real utensils. They know who has allergies. My experience in Japan taught me that the school meal was not just about getting the food on your tray, sitting down and talking with your friends and having a break from academics, but it was actually a period where students were learning empathy and compassion through food. Is really a beautiful thing.
Yeah, you know, when I think about this region, just imagine the diversity of school lunches out there. One, to the degree they can afford it is one question, as we'll talk more about, well, how can we get this done? But one nation that has really made an amazing commitment to children, to nutrition of children, is Indonesia.
Yep.
And can we call up slide 14? You know, I know if you live out here, you all know Indonesia, but for those watching online, Indonesia is a vast country. I don't know, 16,000, 17,000 islands, but the new president of Indonesia has made an incredible commitment. Can I ask you, Abdullah, to tell us a little bit about what's going on in Indonesia, the survey, or what is the commitment in terms of school lunches and nutrition and all?
Yep. Since 10 years ago, child nutrition is become one of the top government priority. And Ministry of Health also transform health system and put nutrition is one strategy. And we see the result, the prevalence of stunting reduced from 30% to 20%.
Stunting
So
is what? They don't meet a certain height?
Stunting drop from 30% to 20%.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it means we able to reduce around 1% every year. So we target by 2045. So the prevalence stunting around 5%. So the trend indicates we can achieve that goal. A lot of strategy. We developed 12 health program strategy, and most of the strategy achieve the target. Only 4 program need more focus, attention. 2 program related with also related with school program, like we said before. Imagine Indonesia have a free meal program Every day we prepare millions food, free program for the student. So then we see that this is program also impact on long-term child health nutrition.
Yeah, yeah. How is it actually unfolding? Is it like, I don't know, province by province? I mean, it's such a wonderful ambition, but how does really one feed? How many kids are we talking about? I don't know, 100 million? You look at the numbers of Indonesia, how many are at that school level that now the nation is committed to give a meal?
Yeah. So since we have can you show again the slide? So this is Indonesia.
Slide 14 again.
Yeah, recent survey, Indonesia Nutrition Survey, we see the disparity of stunting issue in one part to another part of Indonesia. In some part of Indonesia, like Bali, the prevalence of stunting already around 8%. While in other part of Indonesia, like in Papua, the prevalence is still around 30%. So this is a big disparity between one province with another province. That is one issue we need to handle. When we see that, let's see the Bali, for example, in addition, all the health program is achieve the target in that area. Also, the local government support is quite strong to improve the nutritional status in their area. So then when we see the health program work with strong commitment from the local government, so the prevalence of stunting is dropped significantly. As we know, when we talk about stunting, 30% factor related with health program, but 75% is beyond the health program. So we need more collaboration with the local government and other ministry, including like sanitation, water supply, clean water supply. So that is also related with stunting. So the issue now, the Ministry of Health doing quite good program, but we only can solve 30% of the issue. But the rest, we need more collaboration with other sector. So that is the challenge for us. And since the government of Indonesia put the stunting is the key issue, invest, like you say before, investing in child health is promising for Indonesia to be developed country by 2045. So if we lack of focus on child nutrition at the moment, so we will deteriorate our dream to be a developed country by 2045, which is around 20 years.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone is here with you for that. At a Milken event, there's people from all kinds of sectors. We'll come back to Indonesia, but I think more broadly, one of the questions is to what degree is partnership with the private sector essential? Like, how does government get it done? Do they outsource it, or they just raise my taxes? I don't know. And so I want to go to Laurent. You are from the private sector. You can tell us a little bit about Sodexo, about where do you fit into this? Like, is it like kindergarten through 12, college, universities? Just if you could share some of your insights into the role of the private sector in addressing issues related to child nutrition and ensuring people get what they should be eating.
Sure. Thank you, Curtis. So let me just introduce who is Sodexo. Sodexo is a family-owned company headquartered in France. And I don't want to share too many figures with you, but we are basically cooking and serving food to 80 million customers every day around the world. So we are employing 340,000 people who are cooking and serving food in more than 50 countries around the world. And because we are a family company with strong conviction, I would say that sustainability and nutrition is at the heart of everything that we are doing. So when we talk about the education segment, we are managing more than 4,000 schools around the world, and we are convinced that we have a role to play. So that's why beyond just serving food, we are looking at the nutrition. We are the largest employer in the world of registered dietitian, nutritionists. We employ more than 4,000 nutritionists in our company to make sure that the meals are actually healthy. So when I say that we are cooking, it means that we design the recipes, we cook in our kitchen, we obviously source locally, to make sure that we develop the communities where we are and the countries where we are operating. So what is important for us when we talk about playing a role in the schools is actually engaging and educating with the children. And for that, I would say there are three main principles if you want to reach out to this audience. It must be fun, it must be trendy, and technology-based. And that's what we are developing more and more on the schools, is actually to engage with the students through workshops. We do some cooking classes. We also developed, like in India, for instance, recently we had this cooking competition, where actually we select the best little cook, I would say, which involve actually the design of the recipe. So it's not only cooking, but also we engage them in developing recipes with the healthiest ingredients. And we have this traffic light color system that we also implement in most of our schools, also to make those children aware of, what is the best choice for me. Sure. So it doesn't mean that we have everything green, but sometimes we explain that when it's red, we need to be aware that it should be like once in a while and not like every day. And what we are also doing to allowing them to indulge themselves is actually to adapt the recipe. So let's say the pizza is not something that we can remove from the menu. I mean, when you are a child. So what we have developed is a specific dough with a wholemeal flour that we use. The sauce is full of vegetable that actually allow the kids to have this pizza without feeling guilty in a way. So that's one way to do it. When we say trendy, actually we leverage a lot the social media. We engage a lot with chefs that like Tony, because they are actually the best ambassador, I would say, to reach this population. So could it be in Singapore or in India? Actually, we engage with those chefs that are actually coming physically on the school, animating some talk show, some cooking classes. So that's also quite impactful with this population. And lastly, when I talk about technology, I would say that allowing the kids to order, to pre-order actually online, not only avoid the queuing time on those schools, but also guide them to the healthy choices. That's also a way for us to prevent any allergies. So actually we set the system such a way that when the parents are actually ordering online, they don't get access to those meals containing those allergens. So we work with the school to preset the system such a way. And obviously we leverage a lot the gamification because the kids, they love it. When they choose those healthy dishes, actually they get some rewards. So that's a very positive way to actually engage on the nutrition side.
Can we call up slide number 1? What are we looking at?
Actually, that's typically the dishes like they look like when we serve. We actually, when you look at those recipes, I will say, I'm not sure this one is part of it, but we have the butter chicken, for instance. This is a big signature dish for the children. And we managed to adapt the gravy of the butter chicken, again, to have those hidden vegetables. and remove as much of the butter and the cashew nuts from the recipe to make it, again, healthier for the children. So again, the challenge that we have is actually we have serving meals every day on schools.
Yeah.
So the challenge and the risk for us is to become boring. When I say once a day, sometimes it's even more because we are managing boarding houses where breakfast, lunch, and dinner are actually served by Sodexo. So we must entertain this dynamic and engage as much as we can with those children because we are becoming like the home cook in a way for them. And that's also why through the different workshops that we are animating, we try also to reach out to the parents, in some countries to the helpers, also to educate and show that actually we have easy recipes that they can use to make those home cooking also healthy and align with what we want to roll out.
You know, these lunches look nothing like my school lunch. Clearly, I would have ate more of my school lunches if it looked like this. And it will come back because one of the questions, all that stuff you described from ordering online, it wasn't even around when I was a kid. But for me, it sounds really expensive. And I think one of the challenges, whether you're in Indonesia or a poorer state in the United States, I'm given a budget. You know, how can a company, how can that entity out there that's not the government, within my budget, deliver something that is nutritious, but also wonderful looking? So I want you all to think about that. Then you can ask Tony and everyone on this panel, each other, what do you think? What can you deliver that's not, you know, outside my budget? You know, for Indonesia, so vast, and maybe you'll have localized dishes in all the Balis, the different parts of the country. But I wanted to finish this first round of interaction by going to our chef. It's so funny, when we walked in here from like the green room, we walked through the kitchen. And so we're all like commenting, look at those mushrooms. But they were probably already thinking, who's that chef in our kitchen? And so, Tony, you award-winning chef in Korea. You've now opened up on the West Coast of the United States. Yeah. And I remember one of the hot shows this year on Netflix was a culinary class warfare.
Right.
And it's like 100 Korean chefs battling it out to pick the best chef in Korea. And she didn't win, but one of my favorite contestants was the lady that worked in a cafeteria at a school in Korea. And she talked about her skill is she's serving, 200 kids.
Right.
So she knows how to make a big pot of kimchi jjigae, like a stew. So she talked about, her insights were also, but she wanted to do it in a way where they still thought, oh, this is like a home-cooked meal.
Right.
And so, Tony, I wanted to ask you, as you think about what everyone has said, from it's nutritious, it's a commitment of the government, the role of the private sector, how do we ensure even the young people eat what is served? You're a world or a food program chef advocate.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that and what you're seeing from your role as a chef.
Okay, thank you, Curtis. And it's been an honor to be a part of this important conversation. Yeah, I work for WFP. Yeah, it means using my voice and skill to connect chef, school, company, and government too. Yeah. So we design solution together from fortified food like super cereal to campaign that reduce waste. Slide number 4, please. Yeah. The super cereal to support children recovering from malnutrition. Yeah.
Just could you call up slide number 4?
4, please. Yeah. It contains the protein, vitamin, and mineral in a format families accept. We turned up with the football player Son Heung-min. Yeah. So to raise awareness, because design also means distribution and trust. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear this theme almost like we're sneaking in the good stuff into school lunch. I don't know if that's the right approach, but clearly we have to do something where people will eat what is being served. I know one of the things, honey, that you've worked on is really, it's all about data, where WFP and others are trying to collect data on food wastage. So I don't have to like counting the stuff that's in the trash can to get that metric. Well, it's all might be really healthy, but kids are not eating that. So how do they do that? I remember you told me there was like it's like red light or yellow light or
yes.
green light.
This the numbers 8.
Slide
right?
number 8.
Slide number 8. In Korea school, we use the plate traffic light. Yeah, a playful signal to help kids check the leftover.
Yeah.
It means the green means they ate everything, and yellow means some leftover, and red means a lot was wasted.
Yeah.
So it's low cost and visual, yes, and we try to very simple but effective. Plate waste dropped by about 24%. Yeah.
Yep.
It means a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and one from a budget side, it's great. There's less wastage. Although it made me think, people say, "Oh, it's a bad thing when your mom or dad said finish everything on your plate."
Right.
Does that encourage over time, like overeating?
And chef
right?
too.
Yeah, Laurent.
If I may add, I mean, that's something most of our schools in Asia actually are equipped with this Waste Watch program, actually, that we have implemented globally, but Asia is obviously part of the priority for us. And actually, on the school, it totally makes sense because not only from the back of the house perspective, I mean, our employees are actually measuring every single waste and valorizing in terms of dollar value, what it means at the end of the day, make our people aware of how much is a shame to waste this food. So at every stage of the preparation process, actually, should it be the trimming or the overproduction? Because once you present a dish, actually you cannot reuse it later on, so you need to throw it away. So this is all about forecasting, and we usually say the best way to reduce the food waste is to not have any food waste at all. So we don't want to talk about recycling or whatever. We need to better forecast. And so at the different stage of the process, we measure those waste, including for what we call the post-consumer waste, which is actually what the children are bringing back to the bin. And actually, we have scale actually to weight those wastes, and also make the children aware and give some challenge sometimes. So we play again on this gamification part. We should reach a target today, actually. So let's together reduce the waste. And that's worked quite well in terms of awareness. And that's also another way for us to educate the population on that. And they are usually very receptive. I mean, I've been heading the education segment for Southeast Asia for 6 years. I can tell you that the best population to engage with for any topic, as long as you are fun, trendy, and technology-based.
Yeah. Hey, can we call up slide number 7? So Tony also shared with this week. Clearly, these look like happy kids.
Very happy.
Tell me, did you design that meal? What are we looking at in this?
Yeah, the left side is grandmother's bento.
Oh, your grandmother.
Yeah.
This is your grandmother's bento.
Yeah. My growing up in Korea is before universal school lunch. I carried the lunchbox from my grandmother made. It was very simple: rice and kimchi, some side. Yeah, it looks simple, right? But it's perfectly balanced. So that's love is not a luxury. It's a design principle. So I think it's very important thing now. Yeah. And this one is we try to food waste campaign to school. So everybody very looks happy.
And
the meal. Yeah.
And slide number 9. What is this? Is this your grandma or this?
Yeah.
From a movie?
It's not my grandma. This child is from Korean movie.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's pretty similar. It's my grandma is always she's loved food. Yeah, gave me a daughter or son. Yeah. So I think it's pretty.
So it's really, we talked earlier when we were backstage about, how, again, food is more than nutrition. It's love, it's education, it's community. And so everyone on this panel, you've heard each other talk. What are some of your reactions? You see the world, the whole issue, I think, for us, not just in Asia, but around our budget is a key issue. Indonesia, can you afford to do gamification, high tech? I just got to get people food, but the reality, you might get the food, but maybe they won't eat it. What are the lessons that we can take and cost effectively take from each other? And then Heidi, we know the U.S. and it's like, oh my God, the budget gets cut and cut and cut. What are some of the things you're seeing, let's say from the U.S., that are there lessons there that we can take about what not to do or what to do as you survey the world? And tell us a little about you. You've collected data from all around the world. You do a survey by country. Tell us about that.
Thank you. So prior to 2018, the data on school meals around the world was very fragmented and inconsistent. We didn't know how many children were being fed, what they were being fed, how the food was being procured, or how it was being funded. So the Global Child Nutrition Foundation launched the Global Survey of School Meal Programs in 2018 to invite every government of the world to provide us with standardized information on all aspects of their school meal program. So we now have a glimpse and an understanding of what's happening in school meals around the world. Governments have a lot of competing priorities. They have a lot of things that they can invest in. We try to share the message that school meals are one of the greatest investments that a government can make. School meals get kids in school. In the US, we might take for granted that the vast majority of students are in school, but around the world, that's not the case. There are more than 255 million school-aged children who are not in school. Our data has showed a correlation between the coverage of school meal programs and school enrollment. A meal is a very powerful incentive to get a child in school, and we see disproportional benefit to girls. Not only do school meals make it more likely for a family to be willing to send a daughter to school, but it has an even more powerful impact if we give that daughter food to bring home to the family. It improves her standing in the family, and it can transform her trajectory. We find that if we can keep a girl in school through the 9th grade, she is likely to delay marriage until 18 and first child until 20, and this has profound impacts.
Wow. Share with us from Indonesia, as you've heard some of this, as you're thinking about what Indonesia is rolling out. Are there things, that resonates, we're already doing that in Indonesia, or we recognize the role it can play in development, in the role of women. What are some of your thoughts as you think about what's unfolding in Indonesia, and just some of these perspectives from different sectors, private sector, a chef, someone who surveyed the world?
Yeah, when we look at the free meal program, for example, Indonesia just recently introduced the free meal program. It's a really big challenge. And of course, we need a lot of partner with private sector to deliver free meal program, million people every day.
Yeah.
This is really big deal with Indonesia recently. And when see the survey before, I also want to emphasize here, when we see the meal, and then we think about what ingredient in our food. The recent survey we conducted, and we found the interesting finding. We see the stunting in the first year of child already stunting. So then we think about this must be related with food intake during pregnancy. So one of the issue is related with lack of iron, folic acid in the consumption.
Yeah.
So then we think about what is strategy to motivate them to take iron, folic acid, because the taste is not really good. So then impact on low compliance to take iron, folic acid tablet. And then the government think about different strategy. Can we find other product like was tasty enough for them? Now we try to introduce our piloting multiple micronutrient supplement tablets as a potential alternative. Then when we look at what we have on our meal, it's related also with stunting as well. So that's why we focus on food we provide for pregnant women because that's impact on stunting, and also free meal program recently we introduced. We believe that also have good impact on long-term health for the kid, and when they grow up, so then the reduce the risk stunting for their kid in the long term.
Absolutely.
So this is the cycle, life cycle approach we introduced recently in Indonesia in order to not only to reduce stunting prevalence, but also to improve the general child health in general.
Absolutely.
So that's again, when we see the food on the table, and then we see what ingredient, what kind of vitamin, and that is also issue in Indonesia recently. In some social economic status, the stunting is not issue for them, but overnutrition, obesity, is become more prominent, mostly in the city. So the prevalent obesity also another issue for us in addition to malnutrition. Like you said, that double burden nutrition, malnutrition not only stunting, but overweight and obesity we also say that is also part of the malnutrition.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was the double burden. You know, it's like not getting enough nutrition doesn't mean you're not eating. You might be just eating the wrong things. I was striking Heidi earlier. We could do a whole different panel on the 0 to 5-year-old issue. Like even before we get to what we're talking about, school lunches, should governments, from a health perspective, intervene even earlier? Right. And almost we talked about kids, that we have to almost like trick moms to eat those vitamins. You know, how do we get people to eat the things that they should be eating? And one, you can't just simply provide it. If it doesn't look good, it doesn't taste good, they just won't eat it. You know, for all of you on this stage, any thoughts on actually that other challenge of obesity and overeating? And when we think about kids, you know, maybe they're eating too much in school. I just want 3 of those pizzas. I'm not eating that healthy stuff. So when you think about this issue of school lunches, and you think, I always thought those are the richer countries. But as we noted, you know, it can be in Indonesia, it could be, Singapore, where there are issues with school lunches too. And what are kids eating? Laurent, yeah.
I just wanted to maybe bounce on what you say on the affordability part, because this is actually a topic in many countries, and maybe just to share with you some model that we experience around the world. I would say first, if we have a very pragmatic approach, I would say the longer the contract with the private sector is, actually the easier is the depreciation of the investment on the tool. So if we take the way we operate in certain countries, we have those central kitchen. We call it a central production unit, but that's actually a way for us to leverage the economy of scale and reduce the cost of producing a meal, basically. So that's one way, and there are different models, but sometimes the government built the tool and put it as a concession for the private operator. for 10 years, 15 years sometimes, to operate and give it back on the same condition. And that's a tool that is actually maintained and renewed and so on. And beside this, we see also a lot of government having a clear requirement on local sourcing. So that's also a way to develop the local network of suppliers, and for companies like us also to support those local vendors based on our own requirements. Should it be traceability in terms of SOPs? Actually, we support those business because we need this business locally. Even though we are a global operator, we operate locally. Firstly, because our customers are local, our recipes should be local, and our staff is actually local people. So having this approach, I would say holistic approach, having an impact on the cost of operating, but also developing the local communities is actually a way, in my opinion, to maybe reinforce the local economic tissue, and while providing those healthy meals with strong standard, because again, you have one meal. If I take one example that I have in mind in France, the city of Marseille, where actually Sodexo was created, we have one central production unit producing 50,000 meals every day. 50,000. So for all the school of the city. And actually, this is a concession contract that we have for 10 or 15 years that allow us to invest, to make sure that we get the return on investment. And for this contract, for instance, we have strong requirements in terms of freshness of the product and also local sourcing. So we need to rely on these local suppliers. Just to...
Heidi, did you have thoughts on either affordability or obesity or both?
So I actually started my career in childhood obesity prevention, and very quickly I found myself in the space of school meals and recognizing that this was an intervention that could address obesity, childhood obesity in the US and beyond. We actually measure the various objectives that countries and governments give their school meal programs, and many countries around the world are using school meal programs to address obesity. That is, of course, we see it higher in higher income countries, and it's less of a focused objective in lower income countries, specifically sub-Saharan Africa, where underweight and undernutrition is more salient. However, recognizing the potential of school meals to address childhood obesity in these environments before it gets out of control is an important component. School meals have the opportunity to model for children healthy lifestyles and good, delicious eating. So I would sometimes have a school nutrition professional who I very fondly might refer to as a lunch lady say, but Heidi, the broccoli and the carrots, they're going straight in the trash. And the broccoli and the carrots, they're not served at home. And so why should we serve it? And I would say to them, if they're not receiving those vegetables at home, it is even more critical that you are providing it to them at school. But then what I would see is, plain steamed broccoli. And I'd say, we got to call in Tony here because we need some flavor. We need some spice. We need to make this food delicious. So nutrition is not nutrition unless it's eaten. We don't want healthy trash cans. We want healthy, nourished bellies. So folks like Tony who help make the food seasoned and delicious and attractive is definitely the way to go.
My cooking philosophy is not about adding more. It's but about removing what is unnecessary. I think it's very important point. I believe the world today needs this art of subtraction, the clarity, simplicity, and respect for every ingredient. I think that's the point. Yeah.
Can we pull up, we just have a short amount of time, but can we pull up slide number 6? And so this is not a school lunch. This is if you go to Chef Tony's fancy restaurant.
I wish, yeah.
But that is that challenge, how do we get that meal that people think, wow, it's trendy, it's tech-driven, it's fancy, and I want to eat it all and all. As we close, I want to say, can that be done? If you had, I don't know, wave that magic wand, or there's one a call to action for the people here that you want them to take away as they think about school lunches, your kids' meals, what you need to tell your mayor or your government to do, or what you want to tell your lunch lady to do. What is that last message that you want to leave people? You're experts in this area from all different perspectives and all. Who will go first? Anyone?
Me?
Yes.
These two
Chef.
dishes interpret the traditional recipe in Korea with the seasonal produce. The same logic scale to school. Fewer item per plate, clear colors, one beloved forever. It's good design, respect, culture, and knowledge is better eating, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that just goes to the point, and I like, Laurent, your point about, we have ministers in trade, different perspectives, but almost I liked, Laurent, when you talked about that interdisciplinary, it's also a way to drive local economies. So people can think, school, meals, that's just Ministry of Education or Ministry of Health. But as a country looks how to develop its own people, its nation, school lunches will drive so many other different things, including perhaps local sourcing, local entrepreneurs. Laurent, any closing thought as you think about all that we've talked about today?
No, I would say from the private sector, I would say that we expect the government to set the frame, because that's also a way to prevent the market to pull down and go to the cheapest, while actually there are some requirements that we want to achieve all together. And as a global company, we don't want to compromise on the nutrition and the sustainability. And sometimes, to be honest, in certain countries, we face some unfair competition that can actually sold all hot dogs everywhere for $1.50. And actually, we don't want to compete with those people. So that's, I would say, the role of the government also to be clear on what are the minimum requirements. And that will be the best way forward for companies like us, actually.
Let me jump to Asnawi. Government. Thoughts?
In terms of Ministry of Health perspective, when we see the free meal program, which is a good thing to introduce healthy eating in an early age. So this is what we, Ministry of Health, see this is opportunity. Introducing the healthy habit. And also the Ministry of Health can introduce other healthy program in the school.
Absolutely.
And recently we have general health checkup for the school. So then we see that free meal program and combined with other program, and in order to create a healthy lifestyle from the early age, including the healthy eating since the early age.
Absolutely. Set those habits. Heidi, bring us to a close. I mean, you surveyed the world. What is your wish, or what do you want people to take away from watching online or here?
So the world is off track in meeting the Sustainable Development Goals, right? This is felt in individuals, this is felt in families, and this is felt in communities. If we want a cross-cutting, multi-sectoral intervention that gets girls in schools, that addresses poverty and hunger, that increases educational outcomes, that can support smallholder farmers, that can create jobs, and that can address the dual burden of malnutrition, a well-designed and well-planned school meal program just might be the golden ticket.
Wow. And with that, I'm thinking school meals are magical. Right? I mean, they're magical for what they can transform. In all these other, meeting rooms here, we're talking about development. We're talking about hunger. And in many ways, school meals connects this, to your point. Get them when they're young, and it'll transform the really future of not just that individual, but countries as they think about their own growth. Join me all in giving a hand to our panel. Thank you all for coming to this. It's our very first on child nutrition as we think through, from a Milken viewpoint, matching up, partnering, private sector, associations, civil society, and government. But you all are part of that community because, like how I began, I think all of us had a school lunch, whether we loved it or hated it. But how do we get, our kids to love school lunches? And I hope you take away from this that it's not just feeding them; it really is investing in them and all our futures. So thank you again for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Oh.
Thank you.